Everybody in Poland, here I come. You better be ready. Well, it means various things. You know, on one level, it's a great opportunity for guitar players to get together and play, and for other guitar players to enjoy it, and to promote, you know, the Ibanez brand, which is a fantastic brand. It worked out really well for me because I'm in Europe touring, and I'm going to be performing at their event. So on that level, it's very nice. But on another level, for me, it's pretty vital because I've been working with Ibanez for 30 years, which is quite an achievement in the business, you know. And we've had just an incredible relationship. We've made instruments. We've carved new ground. We've done some really great things, you know. I mean, when you think 30 years ago, when I designed the Gem, and you fast forward 30 years and it turned into, you know, the RG, which was just an incredibly popular guitar, and the 7-string, which is now a conventional instrument in certain subcultures of music. It's really nice. Well, Ranghold represents the Mainel Festival, and he's a great supporter of Ibanez. So, you know, me being a part of the Ibanez family, by association, I'm part of the Mainel family. And, you know, in that photo of me with their family, that was quite the family portrait. You know, it's always nice when you can have a business relationship that's just good, that works on so many levels, you know, with so many different moving parts, because you have distributors and you have buyers and you have all these different territories around the world. And everybody wants to do good, you know, everybody wants to feel like they're contributing something that's productive and that is in need. And you know, it's an honor to be able to look back over 30 years. 30 years, it's a long time, you know, and to be able to see all of these connecting of the dots. The way it usually works is somebody does something, and maybe they raise the bar a little bit in one field. Could be any field. Sports, business, music, art. And then young people come along and they see where that bar is. And they say, okay, this is where I have to start. And then they push from there. So I'm like 2 generations, 3 generations removed from the young people who are raising the bar now. So it's just fascinating to see what they're doing. I think for some of them, when they see me, there's kind of a nostalgic feeling of respect, because some of them understand the contribution that I've made and how it flowed into what they do, whether it's the guitar they're using or some of the tricks they're doing on the instrument, or some of the inspiration they've received on where they need to go. Occasionally I teach, usually for charity, and but I do speak a lot at various events for young people. And the advice I try to give them is it's very important to find the thing within you that gives you the feeling of excitement and enthusiasm about music. Not the thing in you that creates tension or fear or the feeling that you have to be better than, or the feeling that you have to fit into this. You know, that really doesn't work. It never works. Not if you want to be true to your creative potential. You'll never be happy unless you find that thing in you that makes you happy, and you throw yourself into it without any excuses. And some of the excuses you might find yourself giving yourself in your head, usually there's a criticism in them. There's a sting. There's a but. I'd like to do this, but. And you fill in the blank. And usually it has to do with fear of failing, fear of not being accepted, fear of not fitting in, fear of not being good enough. These are usually the thoughts that enter in the mind of a young person that will always keep them from feeling freedom, and also the delicious feeling of creative accomplishment. We'll have to see. There's some really cool things that people are doing. You know, when I get links, people send me links sometimes, and the expansion that I really see going on right now is more in the acoustic guitar department. People are starting to do fascinating things with tapping on two necks and harmonics and banging the instrument. And I've just seen some incredible stuff being played by acoustic instrumentalists, you know, whether it's an acoustic guitar or some bizarre mandolin with three necks or whatever. And it just doesn't, it sounds unique as far as the technique goes. But I've yet to really hear anything that stimulates me musically, because evolving things melodically is very different than evolving them technically. Technically, you can design a whole new way of playing the instrument, but you're just rearranging the same notes that are pleasant to the ears, you know, where really I haven't heard anybody making any melodic, really incredible melodic evolutions, meaning just a depth of harmony in song structure and chord changes that's inexplicable, that's rich and unique and evolutionary. They're just playing the same old notes. Well, it's finding a balance. You know, in any field, whether it's photography, you're a cameraman, whether it's music, sports, business, art, you have to go through a period where you learn, you prepare, you know, you practice, you learn about the camera, the angles, the resolution, the sun, the way the light hits things, you know, and where to, if you're a writer, you got to learn what the words are. But the words aren't the poetry. Knowing the technique is not the music. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So everybody in any field has to find the balance between how much technique they need to go deeper than the technique. You know? Bob Dylan doesn't need a lot of technique to get his point across. I like having technique, you know? I want it all, you know? But it is easy to get caught up in the technique because the mind loves information. It loves to be able to say, oh, this lens here and this, I know this and I know this about music. So I know all this stuff about music. Let me see if I could, put these numbers together and create music, and let me see how much more I can learn about music, because it's fascinating. Or technique. I can sit and I can play, and when I sit and I practice my scales, I get faster and faster. And it's really cool to get faster and faster. It's easy to do. You just practice your ass off. But at some point, unless you go deeper than the technique, the quality of what you do doesn't necessarily carry the deep inspiration that resonates with people, that fascinates people. It's like watching a movie that is just really stupid and dumb and an insult to your intelligence in a sense, because it's just so stupid. But some people, it's good for them. They like it. But then you see a movie like, I don't know, Forrest Gump, or, I don't know, just a brilliant movie, and you go, wow, Well, the guy used the technique and he went deeper than it, So in any field, it's good to learn what you need to do, but the technique is only a tool to go deeper. Well, I have a lot of friends in the music business that play guitar, obviously. We don't really talk guitar so much, but occasionally. And you mentioned virtuoso, and I was just on a tour, a Generation Axe tour, which was a fantastic tour. It was one backing band and 5 guitar players that came on and off the stage and then played together. And it was myself, Nuno Bettencourt, Zach Wilde, Tosin Abasi, and Yngwie Malmsteen. And we all shared the same bus. And it was fantastic because we really got to bond and laugh and tell stories and listen to music and hear everybody's story. And it was very interesting hearing Yngwie talk about how he developed his guitar style. And he is a virtuoso of the highest order because he has stunning intonation, incredible vibrato, breathtaking speed, and a command and control of the instrument that's just historical. And it was just very interesting to hear how he developed his style and his inspirations. And one of the really interesting stories he told was, when you watch Yngwie, when I watch him pick, it just looks like this. It's like elegant, and there's no wasted movement, but it sounds like, you have to be into that stuff, But when he first broke in the 80s and he went to Japan press is, they're very forensic. They want to know everything you're doing. How did you do this? How did you do that? Why do you do this? So this is just brilliant. They asked Yngwie, how do you pick? What are you doing? And he looks at him and he goes, I don't know. I never looked. That's very telling. And then when we discussed that, he said, I never looked at my hand. I just listened. I used my ear. And I knew what I wanted to sound like. And he was listening to virtuoso violin players when he was 6 years old, So that was a very, very telling. So I don't know if that answers your question or not, but I started going there, I believe, in the 90s. I've seen it change dramatically over the years. Just on my last tour, I think I was there 6 or 7 times. And it's a beautiful country, really. We drove through it on my last tour. I did an orchestra. I had an orchestra with me on one of the legs of the tour, and we did a lot of driving through Poland in the summer. Well, it was spring, and it's just so beautiful. It's different than many other places. It was all the mustard seeds were in bloom, and the cities still retain an incredible old world charm. As a matter of fact, I spent vacation time in Warsaw with my family. That tells you how much I appreciate it. There was some depressing things too, obviously. I did the tour of the ghettos and all that stuff. And the architecture in Poland, especially Warsaw, is very interesting and quirky because of the infiltration of Stalin in the communist period. I've had a lot of conversations with Polish people about their upbringing and what it was like to be brought up in Poland when it was communist, when the change happened, how it affected their life, and the freedom they feel now. And also, I love the way that they're evolving culturally. Wrocław is that how you say it?
Yeah, Wrocław.
Is just becoming such a beautiful city. There's the mixture of contemporary and old school charm, or old world charm, and they have more and more music festivals. I think the last time I was there, I played at a Jimi Hendrix. I played Hey Joe. It was like the world record for the amount of guitar players playing Hey Joe or something like that. And it was really great. It's a great country. And when I was going to college in 1979, Berklee College of Music had a lot of different people from around the world. And some of my friends were Polish. And one of my roommates was Polish. And there's Polish Americans, which aren't really Polish. Their heritage is Polish, but they're American. It's different when you grow up in New York and you have Polish friends than when you meet somebody that's Polish or Italian that's from Italy. You learn a lot more. And one of the things I learned from going to Poland was the huge difference in the perspective that Americans have on Poland based on what we are taught when we grow up. And then you go there and you see it and you meet people and you talk to them. It's very different. It leads you to believe that everybody in the world is brainwashed by the media, which they are. Well, in some regards, everything is music. Because everything has a vibration. Everything's vibrations. And we only pick up the vibrations in our ears that sound like music, that resonate in a particular vibration. But music is a creative expression of us human beings. And it's diverse. It's the diversity in music that is so beautiful. And people say, people might say to me, your life is music. But it's not. Music is what I do in life. Life is something much deeper than what you do in it. But music probably means to me what it means to most people. So if you answer that question for yourself, that's probably what it means to me. There's no way you can't really say it. It's everything. I love music. I can't live without music. I do music all day. What does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. I'll give you an example. I'm a beekeeper. I have bees, honeybees. They make honey. I know so much about bees. I know a lot about honey. You can study honey. You can become one of the world's authorities on honey. You can break down its molecular structure. You can find out how it's made, where it comes from, how it's used. You can get a doctorate in honey, but you will never know what honey is until you taste it. And you can never explain what honey tastes like. Really, you can never give somebody the experience of the taste of honey with your words. So to say, what does music mean to you? I can't tell you, because I can't ever convey it.